Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Today we're looking at a new set of cards which is supporting the Injection Fairy Lily. This is a monster that was back in the original series of Yu-Gi-Oh, but now it's going to get brand new support alongside a new artwork for itself. The original card itself is the Injection Fairy Lily. This is a level 3 Earth Attribute Spellcaster effect monster. It has 400 attack and 1500 defense, and the requirement is to pay 2000 life points. The effect, this card gains 3000 attack until the end of the turn. It's always been seen as quite a powerful card because it does receive quite a boost, and actually for the number of life points you lose, it gains more attack than that, making it a 3400 attack monster. The downside of it is that you have to pay 2000 life points in order to use this effect, so it can really only be used several times within a duel, unless you can continually increase your life points. Another downside in terms of this being in the rush duels as opposed to when it's used in the original series is that this only activates during your turn, so when you're battling. The original version allows you to use this cost both during yours and your opponent's turn when your opponent is battling this monster, making this a weaker version. I remember this card actually from a couple of examples. There was in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pyramids of Light movie, which I've got videos on as well. Please check that out. I'll have those in the description down below and in the comments section. And there was a point where Joey was trying to distract a set of duelists from, chasing after Yugi as they wanted the title of the King of Games and they thought it was like a weak, shrimpy little guy that they could easily beat and they wanted a shot. Joey Wheeler ended up being against a particular duelist who ended up having this Injection Fairy Lily, and it ended up like having this cutesy moment where it kind of tries to give Joey a booster shot. I think it was in his backside. And there was another example, and this was used by one of the Big Five. I believe it was Lecter, and he was as a Jinzo, but he used Injection Fairy Lily as part of his strategy to get over defeating Seto Kaiba, but he ended up losing at the end. Animal Dr. Lily is a level 3 Earth Attribute Beast Warrior effect monster. It has 400 attack and 1500 defense. The requirement during the turn this card is normal summoned, pay 500 life points. The effect is to choose one Earth monster with 400 attack and 1500 defense in your graveyard and special summon it face up. Then you can choose one face up monster on your field and have it gain 1000 attack until the end of the turn. This is another version of the Injection Fairy Lily, but apparently as a doctor, like vet, as you've got some sort of animal in a cage and you have her dressing like a vet would. Has the same stat line and same typing, same level as the previous one, but this is a beast warrior. And that's in reference to, caring for animals. The effect lets you revive a Earth Attribute monster with 400 attack and 1500 defense. Interesting, that's the same attack and defense as the Injection Fairy Lily. It gets special summoned from the graveyard, and then you can choose a face-up monster on the field, and it gains 1000 attack until the end of the turn. So if you do this with the Injection Fairy Lily, that becomes a 1400 attack monster, then pay another 2000 life points, that gains another 3000 attack points, making it a 4400 attack monster. So you're kind of seeing where the direction of the deck is supporting. It's very much trying to boost your Injection Fairy Lily without having to rely too much on paying life points to get its attack points up. Lily's Injection Needle is a normal spell card, and this is funny. I mean, of course they had to have reference to the anime and to the movie, and this is pretty much the iconic card. The requirement is if your opponent controls a monster, so that's pretty easy to do. The effect is to choose a Earth Attribute monster with 400 attack and 1500 defense in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Then if you activate the effect of Injection Fairy Lily this turn, you can pay 100 life points for the requirement of its effect. That is fantastic. The massive downside of Injection Fairy Lily is having to pay 2000 life points. Not only does this card let you choose an Earth monster with the same set line and add it back to the hand, but provided you activate the effect of Injection Fairy Lily at some point in the turn, it doesn't have to actually be present on the field before you activate this card. You just pay 100 life points to gain the 3000 attack point boost rather than the 2000 life points you would normally. And here we have Fairy's Injection. This is a normal trap card. The requirement is when your opponent draws during the opponent's turn, or your opponent normal summons a monster, the effect is to choose one monster on the field and send it to the graveyard. Then if there is an earth monster with 400 attack and 1500 defense in your graveyard, you can choose one monster on your opponent's field and destroy it. The requirement on this is when the opponent draws during the opponent's turn, or if your opponent normal summons a monster. Both of those conditions are pretty easy to meet and can be really used before your opponent really does too much of anything. The effect just lets you choose a monster on the field and it gets sent straight to the graveyard, so before anything happens, they lose a powerful monster potentially, and unless they have some sort of effect which is immune to trap cards, this will pretty much apply to any of their monsters. And if you happen to have an earth monster that has the same stat points, the 400 attack and 1500 defense in the graveyard, you're then able to just choose a monster on the opponent's field and destroy it. Potentially this gets rid of 2 cards your opponent controls, and there isn't too much for your opponent to do about it. They can't really manage what you do. I love this kind of mini archetype around the Injection Fairy Lily, and it's quite useful, but we need quite a few more cards in order for it to become its own standalone deck. I'd say out of all the cards, we've only got the 2 original monsters and we've got a spell and a trap card. I know to some people that would be classified as an archetype, as it does meet the conditions of having at least a monster support, at least a spell support, and at least a trap support, but it's not enough. It has to be splashed within a very specific type of deck. And because all of these affect monsters that have a 400 attack and 1500 defense, I don't think we have too many of those within the Rush Duels itself, and so you're reliant on other things to happen. You're reliant on, hopefully, Konami bringing out other cards before this archetype can actually see play. I'm excited to see the future of it, but I'm not holding my breath too soon. I'm hoping sometime within the near future, but we'll have to wait and see. I'd love for you to put your opinions on these cards down in the comments section below. Make sure to like the video, and it'd be great if you could watch a video at the end screen. It'll be another Yu-Gi-Oh related video, hopefully something related to Injection Fairy Lily, but I might actually put something to do with the Vernus Life archetype, which is an Earth attribute archetype, so it works in conjunction with other Earth attribute monsters